Today I'll talk about postural deviation and why it's important to understand the musculoskeletal system. Now, the musculoskeletal system includes the muscles, the bones, tendons, ligaments, and all other structures that support and move the body. Now, without the skeleton, the muscles would not be able to support themselves. But without the muscles, the skeleton would not be able to move. So together they support and move the body. Now there's one integral part of the skeletal system, and that's the spine, the backbone. This is the body's main support structure. This takes me to our topic today, postural deviation. Now, postural deviation is a misalignment in the spine. It can be congenital from birth or from any neuromuscular disorder like muscular dystrophy, poliomyelitis. It can also be a structural or a functional problem, which we'll discuss as we move along. So let's take a look at the most common postural deviation problems. So these are the most common forms of deviation, and they're all caused by misalignment in the spine or just overdeveloped spine, whether from birth or stress and just repetitive things that we do to create them. Misalignment can also cause a chain reaction of other problems that affect organs and different body parts. In the case of scoliosis, the lateral curve in scoliosis can create nerve compression in the spine. It can also create problems for the lungs and the heart when the rib cage is restricted from that deviation. In the case of lordosis, the sway back, the excessive curve in the spine, when the lower back muscles are always in a relaxed state, they get weak. And when they get weak, they create imbalance in the body and, of course, lots of pain. And these are just some of the problems. So let's take a look at some functional and structural problems. So postural deviation can also be from a functional problem. This is when the muscles get very tight. Muscles get tight, the fibers get short, and they can pull the bones out of alignment, distorting the posture. Now this can be treated by massage. This is when we release those muscle fibers. We stretch and strengthen the muscles, and we manipulate them back to their normal length. Now, when all these problems are left untreated for an extended period of time, and the bones are constantly being pulled in one direction, they change shape, and they adapt to that position. The joints get distorted, and this is when it becomes a structural problem. Now it's harder to treat and reverse. Now let's take a look at some of the symptoms of postural deviation. So prolonged stress and repetitive things that we do on a regular basis can definitely put strain and stress on the muscles, making them tight. When muscles are tight, the fibers get short, and they can pull on whatever bones they're attached to. They can pull those bones out of alignment. Now, any misalignment in the cervical or thoracic spine can create uneven shoulder length or rounded shoulder, rounded upper back. And these can lead to things like kyphosis, what we know as hunchback or rounded back. Now, misalignment in the lumbar spine or the lower back can also result in a tilted hip. Muscles like the quadratus lumborum muscle or the latissimus dorsi muscle. So now we have imbalance. Imbalance creates lots of pain in the body. So let's take a look at some other problems associated with postural deviation. So there are many problems associated with postural deviation. Imbalance, muscle pain, limited range of motion, problems doing our daily activities like bending, cooking, lifting. We can even get nerve compression. The bones compressing the spinal nerves from that misalignment in the spine. We get muscle fatigue, rounded shoulder, poor circulation. We can even get breathing problems when the rib cage is being restricted from the misalignment in the spine. And there's so much more. So let's take a look at some of the things we can do to prevent all this. So some of these problems sound daunting, but there's so many simple things we can do to prevent them. We can avoid or minimize some of the repetitive activities that we do. We can also maintain good posture, stretch and strengthen the muscles. We can do regular exercises. Yoga and Pilates are great options to elongate those muscle tissue. We can also do things to reduce our stress level. Now, physical therapy is a very effective treatment. Now, massage can treat all of these problems. It cannot reverse those that are congenital, but it can definitely bring relief to some of those problems from the misalignment in the spine. So if you're having any of these symptoms, be sure to have them evaluated and treated as early as possible. Remember, if all these problems are left untreated for an extended period of time, they become harder to treat and harder to reverse. Remember, prevention is better than cure, and these are simple things we can do to prevent all this. So once again, folks, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Cheers.